Okay, so it is September 20th, 2025. This is a Project Blue update. Uh, so, quite a few things have happened. My board and my computers and stuff is still stolen. Uh, Having all kinds of problems, things being deleted, destroyed, being blocked from using the tools properly, and all kinds of stuff. Some personal issues that I'm dealing with as well. So I'm not the most pepped up, and I'm not really feeling great to make this video. So I apologize for that. I should be very happy and in a much better mood to present something like this. So I do apologize for that. But that's just the reality. I'm just being honest. Um, so the system has been completely redesigned. It was a monolithic monster. It was about 2,500 lines of code, more than that. And it was, in order to make changes or add UIs, it was almost impossible. You'd have to find exact, functions exactly, and there were so many, dependencies. You change one thing and broke something else. So we moved to an OOP, object-oriented programming, modular design. Makes it more efficient and simple. You can add and remove modules very easily. The whole thing is so much better to work with now. So the whole system, it was 8-bit, so it was fairly fast, right? But I've moved to 16-bit, 60 million colors. So the 256 color was a little bit limiting, and it wasn't necessary. But the JPEG, because we have a JPEG viewer now, the JPEGs look really crappy. They were dithered and they were, degraded. So I didn't like that. So I decided to move the whole system to 16 bits. So it basically doubles the network requirements, right? So your packets are double bigger now, twice the size, and it puts a little tax on the network. So I had to do some funky stuff with compression and all that. And so we're fully 16 bits, 16 million colors. We're a modular design now. Adding and removing modules is a lot easier. We've added a JPEG viewer, which I really like. Basic functionality. A file explorer. Trying to get to the Windows 95 style file functionality. I think we have that now, but it's early days. And as a bonus, a system test utility. I think you can't really have a desktop without a functioning system test utility. So that's very, very important. So this is a substantial update. It's a redesign from the ground up, and it took a while to get everything working with the tools. Tools are extremely helpful, and basically, you fix something and something gets broken, you move to a complete modular design. It's very difficult from a monolith, because it was just one block of code, right? And now it's like all these modules and stuff. So in some ways it's easier, in some ways it's harder. But I like this 16-bit. It's a huge step forward. JPEG viewer, file explorer, and system test utility. These are giant updates to Project Blue. So I hope you guys enjoy that. So let's take a look. Okay, let's set the background. Okay. Well, that's definitely not the background. So there's the background. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Let's go full screen. So this is the look of the menu bar now. We have the SD card status. So it lets us know if it's connected or not connected, because it's crucial for the File Explorer and so many other things. And so you can see the menu bar is fixed now. You can't really move it. So that's really good. That's what I want. Maybe in the future I'll make it, if I'm around, I'll make it, you know, I'll make it movable. But for now, we have the old text editor that we know about. This, this is a text editor. Now we've demonstrated this before, so we don't need to do it again. And you can see it's a little bit transparent, so you got that effect going. And I'm not going to demonstrate the text editor because we've already done that. And let's see, so let's go directly to the JPEG viewer. So this is the JPEG viewer, and right now, let's see, it's a little bit slow because this is experimental code. There's still a few things that need to be done. So I just want you to know, like, even though this is a $5 board, and we have a fully functioning desktop on this board now, with like all these apps. I mean, you have a text editor, a JPEG viewer, audio player, file explorer, and in systems, you can toggle the VGA. You have a system test and all that. It's really quite astounding. And I'm doing scaling on this JPEG viewer, so this is it's generating this desktop, right? So the code actually has to scale it so we're not just displaying a fixed image, we're actually doing scaling on the fly on the desktop. And it doesn't look like much, but it adds to the functionality, right? So I want to show you what it looks like if you remove the background. Let's get rid of this. There. So if I go full screen, so this is what it looks like. You can see that the background is transparent in some parts, so there's still some code that needs to get fixed. But we're doing scaling on the fly. And for me, I like having a background. The background is local; it's not on the board itself, so it helps look more like a full-scale UI, right? So still some work to be done, but that we actually have a functioning JPEG viewer. I think it's marvelous. So it just adds to the richness of what we're trying to do with Project Blue. And yeah, I really like it. So, well, yeah, I know a lot of people probably thought, oh, you can't do all this stuff on this, $5 board. But I beg to differ. So this is the new look and feel of Project Blue, and like I said, it's redesigned from the ground up. It's got a lot more apps now. The text editor, the JPEG viewer, you've got an audio player. You can listen to music while you do your work, and you can use whatever desktop.
Wir sind Kinder der Sterne, längst vergangen erscheinen wir leuchten zusammen.
So, yeah, you can basically set it up however you like. And despite it being a little bit transparent, I still like it. So, go back there. Gives you that full feeling, right? So, I'll put that there. Put this up here. This down here. So it's a more featured kind of experience. And the File Explorer, I have another video, another module. So full functions, copy, rename, delete, create directories, and properties, and stuff like that. So file size, 31 bytes, all of that. So everything works. So just to have like a full featured, that we're moving towards a full featured desktop. We're not going to have any kind of we're not going to have any kind of browser, but just basic stuff that could make the ESP32 boards, right, fun, right? And my objective of this is, for utilities, I'll add a utility menu option. And so we got our system tests tools here. And the whole idea is for utilities to be able to continue to add UI apps and stuff like board clone. So you'll be able to control other boards. But this is Project Blue OS right now as it stands in the early days, and this is what it looks like. You have your little status there. If you go back to File Explorer, we'll be able to, like right now, just the SD card stuff is working, but we'll be able to. That's what's in the music directory. We'll be able to do the network source. So the source right now is SD card and network. We'll have the flash drive. We'll have all kinds of other stuff, so that like Google Drive and stuff like that. So you'll be able to interact with those online services, and you'll be able to, with the network bar, you can put your IP address of your laptop or your computer, and be able to move files around from your board, right? So I think there's a lot of really cool stuff coming down the pipe. You'll be able to do basic programming within the OS itself, within Project Blue OS. You'll be able to do programming with Blue Basic. So if you haven't checked out Blue Basic yet, you should check it out. It's the repository is on GitHub, juliandevante.com, Blue Basic, and it's just I think it's let me see if I can find it. Let's go. Basic. Here's another video. The videos are up on YouTube. So if I go to the Blue Basic video, yeah, so there it is right there. So github.com juliandevante/ESP32 Blue Basic. So if we open this, copy the link. Yeah, so there it is. So yeah, so it's on GitHub, and it allows you to do. You flash the board once, and you're able to write basic programs on a text file. So what I want to do is basically incorporate Blue Basic, so you'll have a basic, simpler version of Basic, or maybe I'll do a full-fledged version, but a basic interpreter on your operating system, on the ESP32S3. So we'll have basic like interpreter functionality here. So you can code and I'll write it in such a way they'll be graphical, and it'll show you like real-time status and stuff, like if your secondary board is connected that you want to control. So this is turning out to be very beautiful. I mean, this is early days. I'm not focused on aesthetics. I'm focused on functionality and just getting the base functions ready. Integrating more utility stuff, like right now we have system tests, and I'll show you that in a while. I'll remove the background so that you can see the text properly, and show you what this thing is moving towards. It's just unfortunate. I have other problems that I'm dealing with, very significant problems. Not just my code or problems with what they're doing to it, and things being stolen, um, but other very, very significant problems that people are causing for me. I guess they don't like this project. They don't want people to do these things. They don't want there to be any alternative to Linux and Windows, you know. But other people are doing other things too, and I think as human beings, that's what we're here for, is to discover ourselves and what we're capable of, and have fun with with uh, with our creativity, and be able to build things and do things, be able to have a family, be able to have our human dignity, be able to um, have a shot at life without people ruining it for you, you know. So we'll see what else can be done. But right now, I think the move from 8-bit to 16-bit makes the project look a lot better aesthetically. Right now we're using basic colors, but I'm going to change it so that we start picking from the pool of 16 million colors. So things look nicer, and the UIs will be richer. These are just on the functional level right now. These are the early days. But I mean, before all we had was a text editor, right? And now we have a text editor. Then we added the music player. Now we've added a JPEG viewer and a file explorer, and we have utilities like a system test utility. So if we're able to continue, I think we can do some pretty cool stuff. I would love to make a custom board that has the VGA DAC on there, and so basically you can get the board if you want, and it's plug and play. All you have to do, no flashing, no nothing. All you have to do is put power to it and type in your IP address, your network details, and connect to the board. And it'll have a VGA out there. So all you have to do, no soldering, no playing around. You just plug in your VGA monitor, or if you don't have a VGA monitor, I'll include a dongle. So you just plug in to HDMI, and it's on your big screen, and it'll be fun. I want to make some games as well if I'm around. So there'll be some more utilities, UI, and some more games, some cool games, interesting games, and yeah. I have another project I wanted to start, but I haven't been able to because things are so bad. It's basically a 3D operating system for RISC-V. Because RISC-V is now starting up, they don't really have their own operating system. I mean, the only thing that runs on there right now is Linux, and there should be options, right? There should be an alternative, and I'd love to do that because those RISC-V boards are faster than this microcontroller board. It has access to lots and lots of memory, and that's really the big constraint here. We just don't have a lot of memory, and we don't have a lot of processing power. So you're limited as to what you can do, and I'm juicing and squeezing this board out for as much as I can get from it. And we're doing pretty good. So, you know, It would be nice to keep going, but not quite sure what's going to happen. Things are looking a little bit dire right now. Hard to say. So you can see that the multitasking is working. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what else to say, but anyways, for now, let's focus on this. So we have a text editor, we have a JPEG viewer, a file explorer, an audio player. We have some system utility functions, and Project Blue is looking better than ever. It's redesigned from the ground up. It's running full 16 bits. You know, so we'll try to keep going and see how that goes. So I hope you like this. We'll move on to the other modules now, and hope you enjoy that too. Have a good day.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at the music player now. So let's close all this stuff. So if you go to apps, if you go to audio, you can tell right away the music player is a little bit different. We've added a load button, and now you can, instead of just having a big list of music that you can't really select from, now you can actually select the music you want, and later on we'll add like custom playlist and all those nice things. We'll make it look very pretty and all this, but this is just for basic functionality. This is early days, like I said. So let's
the power to take you under control.
So it does work. You can select. You can't multi-select, but you can select right now. Let's go to an oldie but a goodie. So basically it does work. The reason when you click stop, it doesn't stop immediately, it's because we do buffering, and the buffer has to clear before the function can take hold, because the function does execute, but the buffer is still with the browser, right? So the browser is queued up more chunks, more music than although the function stopped, it's still playing the buffer, right? So that's something with the way the browser functions and the browser works, and it's to do with the DOM and all that stuff. So I have to really figure that out to how we can have a more clean control for stop. But the more important thing is that we can choose our music now. We don't have to go next to get to the song that we want. And that's more like a standard music player, right? So like I said, it's fully functional. It does work. And it's just a matter of, so we were playing this would be the next one. So it's just a matter of polishing the interface. I mean, it's very basic because we just want the basic functionality. And the 16-bit, really makes a difference. Like it looks not so nice on the other ones. We can do some really nice colors, and it gives. We have access to 16 million colors now, 16 million plus colors. Before we only had 256 colors because it was 8-bit. But the move to the 16-bit gives us that full color range. So we can make this player like really nice. but that's aesthetics, and I'm after functionality right now, so that we can actually select our music. I think that's really great. So let's go next, and I'll stop it for a sec. If you look at what we were playing Bananarama Venus, right? So this would have been the next one. So the next function does work, and that's very important.
Einsam wirst du durch die kalte Nacht auf der Suche.
So everything works now. To be able to, select, the file that you want. That's just basic functionality for a music player. I've set the frame rate to be very low during this demo, but we can go all the way up to like 15 or more frames. We can't go up as high as the 8-bit. We can do 24, 25 frames per second. But with 16-bit, it's double the data packet size. So basically, you're doubling how much network data you're pumping through, and you're very limited by Wi-Fi, right? So to move from 8-bit to 16-bit, it gives you that rich 60 million colors, and it gives you a better looking UI. There's so many things you can do. So for now, you can locally on the client side, like set a background and stuff like that. So just to give it that feel that you're working on a more complete desktop, right? But that's the addition for the music player, and it's getting better. So let's move on. Let's disconnect here. Okay, so let's connect. And okay, we're connected. So let's go to Apps and File Explorer now. So this is the File Explorer. It's the early days, like I said. So basically, when you select a file, we have JPEGs and things like this. So the function buttons get highlighted. So these are the sources that it can access for files and directories. So right now it's working on the SD card, and we'll also have the network. That's not, you'll put a network path or IP address or a network URL, and you'll be able to have these functions. On that, we'll talk about that later. But for now, just basically on your SD card or your flash, we'll have flash here as well. Right now, I open it because the system files are in the flash, and I don't want anybody to be able to. I don't want to accidentally delete something or mess it up. So we'll implement that later. We just have to be very cautious. So I'll have to put like color context for system stuff and put some locks in there in the code to make sure that you don't delete those files or the structure, format it instead. Then the whole program will crash because it's all the stuff is on the flash thing. So we don't want that. So right now we'll just deal with the SD card. The network stuff is not working yet. We have to fix that. So let's say we have a directory here. Let's go in that directory. We double click it. There's nothing in that directory. So let's go back to the SD card. Let's put this file in this directory. So this file is called test32. Well, first, before we put
okay, so let's put the file first. So you click the file, and you can note these like tiny little differences. Files are squares, and in terms of icon on the left, and directories are, they have this little weird little dot thing there. I could change that, but for now that's what it is. It's just a placeholder. It's just an icon holder. So for now, this is what the file explorer is going to be like. So let's do the copying, right? We want to copy this to here, and let's go copy to. I can't remember what the directory is called. So SMEDIR, copy. SMEDIR. Okay. So let's go yes. And it's copied. Now copying doesn't delete it or move it, right? We didn't do move. So let's double click there, boom, and there it is. So now let's rename that file. So let's see the rename function. Let's call it renamed file.txt. Let's go say yes. Okay, so you can see that it has been renamed, and to go back to the root, you just click there. So if we double click in here, that's what's here. So let's select this file, let's delete it, right? And it says, do you want to delete? Yes. Okay, it's deleted, it's gone. So now go back here, let's be sure, let's double click there again, it's gone. So now let's actually delete the directory itself, not a file. So delete, yes, boom, okay, good. So let's check the properties of this JPEG file. And for now, it's pretty sparse. It just shows the file name and the file size in bytes, right? So it's the early days of this project, and that we can actually do this with a $5 board. It's pretty incredible. Full, almost like a Windows UI, right? And with a file explorer like Windows, which is pretty neat. You'll be able to copy files from SD card to the network, so your computer or the internet or whatever, and just like you do, on your regular computer, and with the ease of a slick GUI. Right now, if you want to do this, it's manual. You have to remove the file. You have to remove the SD card from your SD card board, put it into your computer and change it, and then put it back and do the copying. Now you don't have to do any of that. You can use this program from your desktop to do these things, and super slick. So let's create a new directory. Let's call it my new directory. Let's create that. And there it is. Let's go inside. There's nothing there. And go back to SD card. So it's there. Let's copy this file over to my new directory. So you go copy to my new directory. Okay. So if I go to my new directory, there's your file. So basically, we've just demonstrated the copy to, the rename, the delete, and the new directory file, new directory creation, and props. So this is basically this is the early days of the File Explorer, early days of Project Blue. But now we have a File Explorer. Before we didn't have that. So this is really cool. I think this is the substantial update that I was talking about. Let's go into the music folder, and sure enough, there's your music files. So you can basically make this as whatever you want.
yeah, those are all the music files, and you can do file functions on those files and directories. So, okay, so I think this is very useful. I don't see how you can have a desktop without a file explorer to do file functions. That's basic. So now Project Blue has that. We didn't have that before. So it's a lot richer in terms of the tools. And when you close it, it doesn't crash the desktop or anything. You can go back here and launch it again. So it's really nice. The menu bar is stable now, and it's fully functional. So I'm going to go ahead. There's a file in there, right? So let's go back up. Let's select it. Let's go delete. Boom, and it's gone. So no, still. Okay. So this version, yeah. So this version has an issue, but the I have, yeah. So this is not the fully functioning version, but that's okay. We can definitely fix that. Let's see if we go in here and delete this guy. Delete you. I think maybe there's a protection error there. So now there's nothing in there, right? So now if we select it and delete that, it's gone. Okay, so it's gone. So it's basically a protection that you don't want to be able, because this is a microcontroller, right? This is not your computer. You don't want to delete a directory. Like for example, I shouldn't be able to delete this music directory if there's files in it, right? You'd want to delete your files first. Then you have the intent, so that directory is empty. Now you can delete it because it's more of like a kind of a protection thing, right? On a computer, you have backups, you have whatever. You have your waste basket, so you have your trash. So if you delete something, it's okay because you can get it back. But with this microcontroller, with this ESP32S3 and Project Blue, there's no waste basket and stuff. You delete something, it's going to be gone, right? So these are the early days. Now I could put a trash, and I probably will. But for now, there's no trash. So we have to be very, very cautious. And that's it for the File Explorer. So yeah, I like this. I think this is it shows how many items in that directory. So if we go to music, it's 9 items in here, and if we go back to the root, it's 12 items. So little things like that, to have a fully functional File Explorer, you can move it around, you can resize it, basically. You can close it and open it. Yeah, that's the really big change from moving from a monolith beast that I had, where everything was all in one program. Very hard to debug, very hard to create new modules, new apps, new UIs, new things. Very hard to debug, very hard to code, very hard to get working with the tools. Now it's modular, and we've moved to that OOP style programming, and that makes everything more robust and simplified. So making an app is a lot easier now than trying to code a giant monolith with 2,500 lines of code, 2,500 lines of code. Yeah, and our SD status. So now we know, if we're using file functions from the SD card, we know if the SD is okay or not, right? So that's very, very essential. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's connect now, and this is our taskbar that we talked about, and let's go to system now, and instead of turning VJ on and off, we have a toggle switch here. I'm going to change it back though. I don't like this idea of the toggle. I like VGA on and off. Very old-fashioned. Now we have a system test UI. Go full screen, and it's pretty much like the old Windows 95 thing, except this is kind of a little bit less because this board is just a microcontroller and it's very limited. So it picks up what kind of board it is. It's an S3. It actually goes out and find how much SRAM you have free and what's the total. Now it's supposed to be 512K, but that's eat up by RTOS, and RTOS is the layer that this runs on. So, or Arduino runs on. So Arduino and RTOS eats up a little bit more than 200K, which is significant, almost half. And that's all you have left. This is the PSRAM after our program is run. So it has 8 megs PSRAM, and this is how much we have free. So it's pretty significant. This is how much flash that's on board. This is the IP that we connected to because we're connecting, so it picks up the IP of the host and puts it there. So we have a bunch of tests there. The test suites are DMA memory test, the speed of how much you can write, the Wi-Fi connection test, ping test, network speed test, and a flash read and write test. So let's do them all. Okay, so for the DMA memory test, we're getting 378.6 megabits per second. That's your RSSI, so the strength to your Wi-Fi router. That's your ping test. I don't have to explain that to you. And the speed test is 149.2. Now, it doesn't take into account the overhead of streaming the desktop, so that's why it looks really low. It's low because it's doing the test while it's streaming and decoding the stream from the board. So while it's sending that, so this is you have to be a little careful about how you interpret this, because that's like we're sending about 2 megabits, like at least a megabits per second. So it's that plus this, right? And the flash read and write, 73 kilobits per second and 18. You have to be aware of this test as well because it's using the bus. So the flash is connected through the bus, and the bus is being used to read and write to PSRAM. So this PSRAM here. So because it's being used to read and write the frame buffer from PSRAM, it's not going to have a lot left over. So that's why these numbers look low. They're not off. They're totally accurate, because you want to know when your system is running, what do you have left? And this is pretty much what you have left, what you can access. This and this, right? So it shows you what you have room to play with, kind of thing, in terms of bus contention or network contention. But these are the tests, and you can select them individually, or you can select them, let's say we just want this test, and just click it again. So those are not going to be run, and only this will be run. And if you keep doing the same test, you'll get different results, obviously, right? So let's get rid of that. Let's just do the network test. Now let's just do that. This takes a little bit. Okay, so that's it. So I think this is very useful here to get an idea if you have problems, what's going on, and what the issues are. So that's that. Let's move on.